Jason is the DM of the massively successful 7-year running Dungeons and Randomness podcast. They are the top 3 RPG podcast in iTunes, and they have been named many, many times in top 10 lists of actual play podcasts. Most recently, 2018, top 10 actual play podcast by ENworld.
That is awesome.
Which is no mean feat. That is incredibly impressive.
We voted for you, I think.
So, again, thank you for having me. That's incredibly kind of you. Thank you.
We are so very happy to have you. So we like to do these little interviews. I call them the this doesn't count because it's a name. The Amazing Anvilite interviews, where we get our amazing Anvilites on, so that we can ask them questions about what they're doing, how they've become successful, how people can do what they are doing, how they can get into it, how they can, approach it, and also where World Anvil fits in, basically. So why don't you start by telling us how you got into DMing and D&D?
Oh, good Lord. Okay, so here's the Cliff Notes version really quickly. I've been podcasting for 10 years this year. 3 years in, I decided I wanted to try D&D. I'd never tried it before. I was like 32, something like that. And I just didn't grow up around a lot of places with hobby shops and stuff like that. I grew up in New Jersey, which is not renowned for its RPG community, I guess, at least not where I was. So I had some friends at the time, and I kind of offered it up as, hey, if I plan everything and run it and record it and edit it and post it, will you guys be in it? And they agreed. That they agreed to do it. I met Rob Wiesahan that way. He was a friend of a friend, and he helped me initially learn a lot of the rules. We were doing 4th edition, so there were a lot of rules. And we posted it, and it flopped hard, really hard, because I was posting. So I was doing a pro wrestling podcast at the time, and believe it or not, people who are a fan of pro wrestling are not that big a fan of D&D.
That is such a shock.
You will be amazed, in fact, because I have seen the other day somebody who is doing pro wrestling D&D campaign specifically. And
that's amazing. That I did not find that audience right away.
I was going to say, you found your target audience.
Right. There are a few people from the old show. I stopped doing it a long time ago, but there are a few people from the old show who followed us, and that's amazing. But yeah, I think it's like pitching LARPing to UFC fans. It's probably not your target audience. But 7 years later, we found an audience, and we just decided to put it in its own feed. And word of mouth, it just spread that way. And slowly but surely, I feel like we've carved out a wonderful, supportive community of crazy awesome listeners.
That is really nice.
That's awesome.
I remember the first time I saw you, in fact, it was about 2 years ago when we started World Anvil, and you joined our Patreon. And I went and I saw the video that you had on your Patreon back then. And I automatically was like, these people are really nice people. And I messaged you, I remember, because I messaged you and I was saying, we should work together at some point. And we both were so busy, we never done anything about it, actually. But it was like, yeah, it was like, I always remember that it was like, my first impression from your Patreon was like, these are really good people. That's what I was thinking of.
We try to be. We're super approachable, and I don't think we turn down many offers to like talk to people and hang out, just because the way I approach all of this is it took a very long time to build up, and it could go away like that. I feel like I don't know if that's true, but I feel like you could wake up one day and it's like, oh, there is no Patreon, or there is no this, and it's like, well, I guess I'll go back to working in warehouses. I don't know, but yeah, I feel super lucky to be able to do this for a living, and I never forget that's because of the people who choose to support us.
Yeah, I think when Demetrius and I started World Anvil, which again we did as a hobby, we were absolutely shocked about how incredible the community was. Like from day one, people just came forward and said, "Oh, how can I help? Oh, like, we love what you're doing. Can we sponsor you? Can we do stuff with you? We were so blown away.
Having said that, I must say that I am envious in the best way possible of Jason, because it takes a huge amount of patience and work to have a podcast when you're starting and nobody knows you. I can tell you right now that if we had this kind of effect when we started, because I'm somebody who feeds into essentially
praise.
I need a pat on the head. It's true. I mean, I don't need so much. I need a pat on the head. I can
You need to know you're doing a good job.
Exactly. I can work for 16 hours straight. I have no problem. But I need a pat on the head. And I must admit that I'm really envious for you, because I cannot do that, what you've done. I think it takes a lot of patience and a lot of strength of character to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, I started out, this whole thing started out as a hobby. Again, like I said, I worked in glass houses and warehouses and stuff like that. The last real job I had was I worked in this huge frozen food warehouse where they store, things like ribs and veal and all that stuff. It's just like an airplane hangar full of, freezer meats. And I don't feel like I was for me, but I did it for a couple of years just because, like, you gotta eat. But yeah, no, I don't think the right mentality is to go into it expecting praise. You just go in, it's like, well, I hope someone listens to this and I'm not just broadcasting to the ether, which is how you feel at the start. It's like, I wonder if anyone listens to this. And then you get lovely emails from people. It's like, hey, I listened to you on the way to work, and that makes my job more bearable. And I said, me too. That's why I do this. To get your email, to tell me it's... So yeah, I think what you guys are doing is amazing. And I think you chose to do it at just the right time. And two, you're doing it in a really great way. And it's to not just share what you're building, but it's a community effort. Like, you get people to show. See, there's that like again. But you get people to show up, and you're sharing. We're all getting a chance to share worlds and stuff like that. And I feel like that's what RPGs are all about.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is.
Like, group storytelling, group experience, group love, group sharing,
and creativity.
Yeah.
Sure, creativity. I think that's the idea behind all RPG games, for me at least.
Speaking of creativity, tell us about your current project, because you're doing something very exciting right now.
Oh, you mean the book? That old thing?
That old thing.
That old thing.
Chop.
No, so, okay. A few years back, we get emails all the time asking us for our specific rules or our world or whatever, and we've published what we can on World Anvil. Steve and the team published what they can. I've done nothing, but they've been amazing. And what we wanted to do was make a book, which I think started out as, we'll do little Patreon articles or something like that. And it just, I tend to want to go big, and I've wanted to make a book for a really long time. And me and Bree started working on it 2.5 years ago, something like that. And slowly but surely, we've gotten it to a place where it's time to get it crowdfunded. It's time to get it out there. And it's called The Adventurer's Guide to Theria, Volume 1, because we're tackling the largest continent we have in the world, which is Alara, and essentially everything anybody would ever want to know about the world. So it's part history textbook. We have over 250, I think 260 NPCs as of right now in the book, which all get stat blocks and history, and a lot of them get artwork. We wanted to do something that we've never seen anybody else do in a world book like this. And if Wizards of the Coast is the benchmark for putting out books, we wanted something that could sit proudly next to their stuff on a bookstore shelf. And awesome. We created, sorry to keep rambling, we took a bunch of our own money, thousands of dollars and time and stuff, and we created a 60+ preview which you guys can download right now if you're curious about what the book's going to look like. It's right at the top of our campaign. So, yeah. It came out better than we have any right to look. Honestly, it's so beautiful. I love it.
And I can see you're being super modest because I know for a fact that you're almost at $80,000 right now.
Are we?
With 15 days to go still, you're almost at 80k, which is fantastic. So guys, I know that Secondhand has shared the link for that. So go and check out their Kickstarter. They have made a phenomenal world. And of course, it's on World Anvil. So what made you decide to put it all on World Anvil, or at least the public bits on World Anvil?
Well, yeah, and it's not that we're trying to be super secretive. It's mostly we wanted to polish it and make it, look good. And you guys have told me about some features and things like that, and I honestly can't wait to play with those. We mostly you'd be surprised at the limited amount of options. There's a few sites that were doing stuff like that, and this isn't to slander any other sites. I just think that from the get-go, we looked at yours. We were looking for a new wiki, and one, it's very visually pleasing. It just looks nice. I like it feels nice, and while it does retain a lot of the wiki properties, it makes you want to. It does the same thing for wikis that it does for D&D worlds, which is you want to explore, this is something similar to what someone else is doing. Do you want to take a look? And you can choose to follow other people, and it's a great resource, I feel, for inspiration. If you ever just want to see somebody else doing something, it's like, oh man, that's a great. I've wanted to run a sci-fi world, but I haven't had a chance to check that out yet. How are you doing it?
I wonder why.
Well, we're busy. It's just I want to do a cowboy RPG. We're doing Vampire the Masquerade. We're dipping our toe into that. Bless you. And it's a mess, but a fun mess.
That is so cool. Yeah, I mean, it's super cool what you guys are doing already with, having World Anvil, having a World Anvil page, because of course it's a podcast, so being able to show images, being able to share all of that in such an interactive way, it's super cool.
I have a question, in fact. Sorry, I know you have your list of questions, but considering the audience,
please.
I don't know, and I'm trying to put you in any weird place as well. Are you planning to do any integration with the Kickstarter and what's the name of our website? World Anvil.
Oh, that. Yeah, you guys. We were talking about that the last time you were kind enough to have me on, and there's probably a larger project at least with the map. At the very least, that's a good place to start. And I would love to integrate stuff like that, just because there was an idea. There was an idea I had like 3 or 4 years ago with, creatures on the map and where certain herbs grow and stuff like that. And I've wanted to do it, and I don't have any programming knowledge. And this just seems like a perfect integration. Mostly it's just finding the time to implement it and working with a team of people. Because again, we're just like you guys, we're a small operation. So,
well, I'll tell you what. I'm already getting the book because we already backed your Kickstarter.
Yeah, we did.
Well, thank you so much.
So you can get me a co-authorship there, and I can help you put the stuff on a map at some point.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so we were lucky enough to talk to someone from Kickstarter just Wednesday. Taylor from Kickstarter, if they're listening to this. Super nice. And he basically had the idea. It's like, you guys should go on tour. And it's like, well, let's finish this book first, because I feel like that's our bread and butter. I really want to get this book out to people, because part of it's selfish. I just want to hold a book we wrote. I want to hold it in our hands. I want to. It's like, because then it's real. It's physical. It's. I could put it on a shelf next to other cool books, and it's. Then we just move on to the next book.
I don't know if you know that, but this is actually one of the. I said my word.
I've said like 50 times. Don't feel bad.
Yeah, it's fine.
I don't have Verti in. Verti counts for us usually.
I think Verti is here.
I'm going to grab some water. I'll be right back.
But our dream is because we, as a World Anvil, we cannot do a physical product. Okay, I mean we are a digital platform, but our dream is to have a whole bookcase filled with works that have been done by the community. And
That's awesome.
yes, and I think that is actually the most beautiful thing for us because Theria will be definitely be going
Pride of
in
place.
there. Exactly, we'll have a pride of place there. So yeah, thank you very much for helping us add to this bookcase. We'll be very proud to have you there.
I thank you again. It's an honor. Seriously.
So my next question, Basic Dragons noticed that Coco was hanging out. She's currently destroying the shelf behind me. She's very small but very mighty. Do you have any advice for people who want to do what you're doing? So being a pro DM, having a podcast, releasing a Kickstarter, just like sweeping across the board with your awesome.
Boy. So okay, I've answered this question a few times, and I try to limit people's expectations because while everything we're doing right now is absolutely phenomenal, and I consider myself very, very lucky. A lot of things had to go right to get us here. Also, I screwed up so many things in the beginning, and that's why. So this Kickstarter, take this Kickstarter for instance. The reason I think we're doing so much right is because I screwed so much up 4.5 years ago when we did the first Kickstarter. I promised too much. It was all physical rewards and with no thought into how we're going to package this and ship it to, say, Australia. I think I budgeted, that's like what, $5? Yeah, $5 to ship to Australia. It's not. It's not $5. So it took us years to fulfill all that and lots of our own money. And that's how we know not to do this now. If you're starting out, one, I would say have a detailed release schedule that you stick to. Don't release a show, every 3, 4, 5 weeks. Do something where if it's bi-weekly, stick to bi-weekly. Be happy with the content that you're producing, but know that 5 years down the line, you're not going to be happy with it anymore. You're going to learn new tricks. You're going to upgrade your equipment. You're going to change your speech patterns. You're going to get better at what you're doing. And that's part of the journey. Also, be good to the people that choose to listen to you. Whether they choose to support you monetarily or not, be good to them. Answer emails, answer tweets. Be as engaged as you can without completely destroying your psyche, because that's something I try to do. I'm lucky enough in this really rambly answer. I'm sorry. I'm lucky enough to get a chance to work with Bree, who complements my optimism with her realism, let's call it. Because I'm very pie in the sky. I'm very much so like, yeah, let's start another group. Let's start it. And that's how you get 7 groups. That's what I'm doing right now. A month. And she's very much like, well, let's focus on the project we have now, and then let's build out. And I think the combination of those two things has kind of helped us move forward a lot.
I think I would say, with all my heart, having a good partner in crime is also a good idea. I know from first hand that I wouldn't be able to do it without Janet, and that's not even a question.
There would be no World Anvil without this Velociraptor.
That's I can't imagine. Like, I started doing DNR by myself. I can't imagine. I think the podcast would still be around. It would not be at this level. You need to. I think we're getting to the point where we need a third person, and that's scary as hell, because it's just I don't want to. I'm reluctant to change things, and this is working out so well. But you get to a point where there's only so much 2 people can do. So yeah, that's part of expansion. That's part. And you guys seem to have like really good producers and tech people working with you. So that's
yes, we do. We have the best people.
We have an amazing team. I said my word. We couldn't be luckier. We literally could not be luckier with our team, with our community, with everybody who helps us out in any way, shape, or form. Like the goodwill, the amazingness,
and love.
It's incredible. No, and absolutely.
I have a question for you, Jason.
Yes.
You said that you've done I didn't know that. You've done a Kickstarter already, so you don't come actually with. That's not the first Kickstarter you're doing. That's a repeat experience kind of thing.
Kind of, yeah. The first Kickstarter we did. So, okay. Again, very short version. I lived in New Jersey. I was born there. I lived there my whole life, and I was miserable. I didn't like the people it just wasn't. I got to a point in my life where it's like, I need to start over. I need to do something else. I didn't like the people I was living with. I didn't like the job situation. It was very industrial, and a lot of those jobs were drying up. So it was not uncommon. I think I've had 10 jobs in 10 years, somewhere in there. So factories would just shut down overnight and 400 people would be laid off. So you wake up one day and it's like, oh, I don't have a job. And everyone who got fired is looking for work in the area. So boy, that's competitive. So yeah, we started, my friends, and everybody who is on the show is my friend. I've never had more friends in my entire life, or closer friends. They were lovely enough to ask our listenership to donate to that Kickstarter. And essentially it was to help me move. I moved to Auburn, California 4 years ago, and to do the show full time. And ever since then, that's what we've been doing. DNR has been a full-time job for me and Bree. Waking up every day.
That is really cool.
Amazing. Yeah. Amazing.
It's I had no idea that was a career option when I was in high school, because I would have trained for it. I would have started playing D&D a long time ago.
We had a very similar discussion last Saturday, in fact, with
Arcadium.
With Arcadium, that he also is a professional dungeon master, and he's effectively doing a living world.
Yeah, so he has a massive living world. He's made a D&D MMO experience. Is the easiest way to describe it. That's how he describes it himself. It's fascinating. It's a really interesting sort of adaptation of the standard genre. It's fascinating.
So I will ask you the same question we asked Arcadium, because I know the answer will be different for you. How is a day in the life of Jason Massey?
Well, okay. The phrasing of that question makes it sound like it's going to be way more interesting than it is. It all depends on what we're doing. Right now, my day consists of refreshing the Kickstarter page 1,600 times. And right now we're taking all the stuff that we did for Theriathon, and we're breaking it down and editing, giving it polish and stuff, and we're releasing it to our main feed. So essentially, that's we do a lot of stuff on Patreon, a lot of shows and groups and stuff. So that Bree just did that yesterday, where we have whiteboards everywhere. So we have checklists for everything, and it's a new month, so wipe it all the way and start over. And one of the big things I guess we're doing right now is we're getting ready to wrap up our Arc 2 to create a new jump on point for new listeners, and just kind of give some finality to some of the storylines and go ahead and start something new. I mean, it's the same world, same characters, same groups, but it's kind of a nice, we get to do a recap of everything that's happened thus far, and then kind of shore up any loose ends, give everybody a break for a few weeks, and then start recording again.
Amazing. I will have to say that I forgot to start the
raffle.
The raffle. So the raffle just started, guys. So if you're still, please ! Raffle to gain some amazing loot from Jason to the community.
And I will warn you that the winner has to give me an email to hello@worldanvil.com.
Well, let's wait for the winner to come.
No, I have to tell them now, because if they just press !raffle and then go away, they will not get their prize.
Yes, that is true.
That is the problem. So if you raffle and walk off, I don't know who you are, I don't know your email address, you will never get the Golden Book of Joy.
Golden Book of Joy.
It's not actually golden, but it's golden inside. It's metaphorically.
We can't
golden.
afford gold. Gold's heavy to ship, too.
Yeah.
So.
No shipping gold to Australia.
Casey in our community actually donated 4 books. He bought 5 and donated 4 books, and we've been looking for a way to give them away. We thought, you guys will, you got this.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea.
Thank you very much to Casey.
So incredibly generous.
It's insanely nice. So thank you, Casey.
So we will actually be giving away 2 books today. This one for the boss
it'll
kill,
be 2.
and then 1 more. So we're going to be raffling
Nice.
off 2 today. And we're going to be raffling off some tomorrow, because I figure it's a nice way to talk about the Kickstarter a bit more. And we want to support you. So for our audience that comes in tomorrow for the theme of the month, we'll raffle off at least one of those for that as well.
Isaac says, Australia shipping, because
Wow.
they know.
They know. So, guys, I think that we've asked enough questions. Whilst our fairies throw all of the links of Theria into the chat, because I compiled everything I had before we started, ask us any questions that you have for us, for Jason, for anything else. You feel free to ask your questions from I keep trying to look in Discord and forgetting that this computer is not online because of the bees. So I can't see any questions yet, guys. If you have those questions, absolutely get them into us. Our fairies will get those to us. Make sure you write capital letters question before your question so that we can see that and then get that to us. In the meantime, I
have to join your Discord, by the way.
Shut
I have to. I keep forgetting to. We have so many Discord servers.
Oh,
yeah.
don't worry. Yeah,
I know the feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Our Discord is pretty cool actually because
Because it has cool people in it.
it's got cool people in it. But apart from that, we do all of our announcements there. We occasionally do like fun giveaways. We do all of our challenge chat there. Sometimes we run lightning challenges. There's good times to be had. And you guys as sages will get access to the Sage Hall, so you can go in and schmooze with the sages.
Well, thank you.
Which is our, as you know, is our professional tier. So it's full of professionals talking about how they're using the Sage tier to professional, essentially.
To professional.
To business.
I would
Channel
also
with
like
your
to professional.
eloquence.
Yes, and make all of the face words good. Shall we show off some awesome articles?
Yes, we can.
While we're waiting for those questions to come in, guys, I thought it would be fun if this week we showed you some of the daily featured articles. Now, we've been announcing these in our stream to show off the incredible authors and thank the enchanters who pick them. But I thought that we could actually show you them this week, and we're going to start to try to do this every week. So if you like it, this is not the stream. This is just my brain has started to lag. Yeah, exactly. I'm very tired. It's been a long day. Saturdays are always very long for us. So if you like this format, let us know, and we will do it more. So the first article is The Ruins of Levalor. Now, this was chosen by Secondhand Samurai, and it is an article by Ans Bonans. The ruins of this temple are the only tomb Prenorin will ever have. Come read about the fall of Levalor, and to the unseen horror born on the wings of one of his most holy symbols. Great use of Spotify to set musical tone. Quotes, images, and excerpts break the article up into easy, manageable chunks.
I cannot open the Spotify. I have to log in.
Don't do it. So they've used Spotify to give you a soundtrack as you read the article. Nice images as well.
It is beautifully imagined.
Beautiful. And look, they've credited the images.
Oh.
Yes. Nice job.
All of them.
Yeah.
Very
awesome.
nice job.
Every single image has been credited. I love that. This is
Ooh.
stunning. This is a stunning work. Look at that. Great use of quotes as well.
Beautiful work, Ans Bonans.
Beautiful work, Ans Bonans. What is next? The Budhana Spire. Where are we with that?
I'm guessing this is
Here we go.
this is gonna be a Tower of Power competition entry. I'm guessing.
I would think so. This was chosen by Ondo, our incredible enchanter, and it is the Budhana Spire by the Chronicler. The tower is gold, literally.
Cool.
A concise article about a forgotten tower that shines for his mystery. Oh, it's beautiful.
You know, on that subject, on the Gold Tower,
Yeah.
I had a discussion the other day about this, the price of gold and how much horde dragons would normally have, and it is way smaller than you think if it's gold.
Yeah.
Unless you start putting like copper coins there and silver coins, an ancient dragon can put underneath his fingernail. Essentially, that's pretty
Yeah.
much his horde.
It would be a butt cushion.
Yes.
This is my
Not
butt
even
cushion of
that.
gold.
Not even that. That's
A
the whole
small
point.
butt cushion.
Yeah. So go to the next one.
Oh, what have they done in the sidebar there?
They have it as ruined.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Cool.
Nice job. What's next?
The next article is the Constantine Black Library.
Ooh, I
Nice
love
image.
that.
I think this is designed by famous map-making software called...
Wonderdraft.
No, that's not Wonderdraft. Incarnate. That's
There we go.
Incarnate, exactly.
So, this was chosen by our incredible enchanter, also producer today, Basic Dragon. Speaking of butt pillows and dragons, the Konstantinov Black Library by Wolf Normandy.
There's a sidebar map!
Dimitri just lost his shit. It's all gone.
Look at that!
The new Black Library is located in the clock tower of Konstantinov, and within those halls, secrets and conspiracies theories gather. I love that. So it's a reuse. They've chosen the clock tower and they've reused it as Black Library. Reuse of structures is one of my
They have farm fields!
most loved pieces of world building, because it's something that you see absolutely all the time in real life, and people forget about it when they're world building. This is super cool.
How big is this thing? It has farm fields in the walls. That's massive.
That's badass.
Or they have like a small like herb garden and they call it the farmland.
I love those quotes in the sidebar as well. But
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
very beautifully done.
It's such a nice way to add like flavor and a bit of story to an encyclopedia article.
Let's continue.
Beautiful. What's next?
The next one is Introduction to RNL.
Oh, introduction articles are so important.
Do you have an introduction article?
TJ put this one up. TJ, if you don't know, is our incredible designer, also enchanter, also admin, also man of many hats. This is the introduction to RNL by @Brews. By far one of the most inspiring and well-rounded introduction articles I've seen. And that is saying a lot, because he has A, seen a lot of articles, and B, written a lot of articles, because he makes new worlds all the time and always makes introduction articles for them.
He promised me that this is the last world that he is doing. I don't believe him, but yeah.
Yeah, oh look, he's listed all the artifacts inside.
Yeah,
as well,
he also
the important
has
artifacts.
music on the top.
Stunning.
And then he has links for all his races here, which is beautiful. Like, I think these are actually different ethnicities. Yeah, ethnicities of humans separated here. Player options, which is really interesting idea. It's definitely an RPG world. And then all the other playable races, amazing. Draconic, dwarf,
Beautiful
elves.
job.
And then further reading.
Oh, and a map.
And a map. Oh, and they're using my own city and town pins. I like them.
Those.
Yes. That is really cool. And link to the article. Awesome.
Very nice.
Very nice work,
Beautiful.
Mr.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Gaming Brew.
Gaming Brew.
is the
Congratulations.
author of
Really cool
that.
work.
Stunning work. And the last one is the Vesk species.
Whoa. Oh, that looks something like from... I want to say Starfinder. I think Vesk are from Starfinder.
So this was chosen by our enchanter Sai. A fantastic article about a battle-hardened, survivalist species filled with detailed biological, cultural, and societal nuances.
Oh, this is so good!
That is adorable. That is the cutest freaking thing. I love it when they add related articles, because it really helps people, like, have a dive into your world.
But also, yeah, jump from one article to the other
Exactly.
and explore. Yeah,
It helps people get into it, basically. And then they're curious, and then they follow the track. And before you know it, you have, like, 1,000 likes. Because somebody's gone into your world and read all the cool stuff.
And such a nice addition there. He created civilization and culture and then major organizations. And although it's a species article, they do talk about the major thing. Because yes, ethnicities are a different thing, and organizations are a different thing, but I understand there is a connection there.
Yeah.
And it's
really
very well
important,
done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Beauty edit. Oh, this is stunning. It's so well filled out as well.
That's a nice bag.
That is a nice bag.
Excellent.
And
very nice work.
booze.
Get a like.
Like for you.
Excellent.
Like for all these awesome
Beautiful
things.
work. And I cannot believe we managed to find at least five of them every week.
I know.
And that says a lot about the quality and the amount of work being done in World Anvil.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, indeed.
You know that, right? Well, why don't you check the questions log and see if any questions have come in for Jason? Oh, that's a good one. Jason! Ivana Lovegood asks, what's your favourite part of the Theria book?
Oh boy. Okay. I'm really proud of all of it so far. I think I'm most proud of what the NPC section is going to be, just because there's so many of them. I think a lot of times people are really like they're really banging down the door to tell you about their world and its history, and we have tons of that, and I'm really happy with it. But a world's kind of dictated by the people who live in it, so I think it makes it feel a bit more. I see Sheebs in the chat. A bit more realistic if there's tons of people living in there, and the fact that there's over 200 of them is. You look up one day and realize, oh, there's a lot of NPCs in our world, and we just didn't. I didn't think of it in terms of being that many. So I can't wait for them to all get stat blocks and little histories and art for as many of them as we can get. And yeah, obviously, beasts and stuff like that are a close second, just because the artwork for all of this stuff is coming out really well.
Jason, are they prototypes of people, or are they in fact people who you created, individuals that you created? I mean, of course they're individuals, but were they created in the ideal that this is a representative of that culture kind of thing, or was it somebody who you created for the campaign and now he is part of the book because people saw them and heard about them and played with them?
For the purposes of our book, NPCs from the show are just labeled. They're all NPCs in someone else's world. That's how we decided to tackle it. We thought that would be an easy way to break it down. So obviously players from the show, their characters are going to make it in. A bunch of my NPCs are going to make it in. And I usually try to create them as their own people, but then shape them. It's like, okay, well, where would this person live? Where would that? So that all comes second. And then obviously everything that happens to them on the show, if they make it that far, because anybody who's ever DM'd knows that you probably have a stockpile of characters and items and stuff that never see the light of day, just because that's not where we're focusing the camera. So this gives everybody a glimpse into all these characters that just have never been on the show before. They exist around.
Good answer.
That's really cool.
And very interesting. Cool. Excellent.
Really cool. Tell us about Sheebs.
Sheebs. Okay, so we have a Shiba Inu named Suki, and she's basically the third member of the team because we have to watch her every day, and she's a baby. I basically wanted to I wanted to show off that there are horrible monsters in the book and in the world, and there's stuff that'll rip you to shreds and all that, but there's also big fluffy creatures that we don't necessarily get the spotlight on the show as much. So I wanted to basically create a hybrid of a sheep and a Shiba Inu, and that's how we get Sheebs. They do kind of roam around. They'll steal food from you. They'll knock you down. They're not trying to hurt you, but they will take things from you and run off. That's basically the only thing they're there to do.
It is so nice to see that, because in most fantasy worlds you actually see there are no cows, there are no sheep.
But yeah,
I mean, how do they eat these people? Like except that they're eating horses. That I can understand. Possibly in these worlds they only eat horses. Like there is pastrami everywhere.
Well, I mean, you got to get around from town to town too, so you can't eat your mode of transportation. But we try to talk about elk and boar and stuff like that. That's boring. What we want to show off are things that are specific to our world too. And I guess you could eat a sheep, but don't. Like they're too cute to eat, basically.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our raid call is Light Up the Forge. So make sure you shout that out in the chat when you enter so that they know that we sent you. Anything else? I think we're there.
Guys, thank you very much. Have a good morning, a good afternoon, a good evening.
Guys.
May the 5th be with you. Actually, no, that's the revenge of the 5th for the Australian people that just woke up. We love you very much. Jason, thank you very much for being here with us this day.
Of course.
You were amazing. I love you very much, guys.
Grab your hammer
And go World Build!